Most people don't stay broke because of bad luck. They don't stay broke because they're not smart enough or because the system is rigged against them, though it can feel that way. They stay broke because of 5 quiet decisions repeated for years that nobody ever points out. Today we point them out. Here's something strange. Most people who never become wealthy actually know what they're supposed to do. Save money. Invest early. Avoid debt. It's not a secret. It's on every finance channel, every book, every parent's advice. So why doesn't it work for most people? The answer isn't information. It's 5 specific traps, quiet, reasonable-sounding decisions that feel harmless in the moment, but compound into decades of lost time. Let's walk through them one at a time. Trap number 1, waiting for the right time. This is the quietest trap of all because it doesn't feel like avoidance. It feels responsible. I'll start once I earn more. I'll invest once things settle down. That sentence can cost an enormous amount of potential wealth over a lifetime. Here's the problem with waiting. Compound growth doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards time, consistency, and the returns you actually earn. And time is the one thing that never comes back once it's spent waiting for perfect conditions that rarely arrive on schedule. Let's put a real number on this. Someone who invests $300 a month starting at age 25, at an average 8% annual return, could have roughly $1.05 million by age 65. Now the same person, same $300 a month, same 8% average return, but they wait just 5 years to start, beginning at 30 instead. By 65, they'd have roughly $688,000. Same monthly amount, same return assumption. That 5-year delay creates roughly a $360,000 difference in the hypothetical ending balance. That's an estimate based on historical averages, and actual results will vary, but the principle doesn't. Waiting is never actually free. This is why "I'll start when things settle down" is one of the most expensive sentences in personal finance. Things rarely settle down on their own. The people who build wealth usually start messy and adjust along the way. Trap number 2, trading only your time for money forever. A job can be a great starting point, but relying only on your hours forever can put a ceiling on your earning potential. Most people never build anything beyond it, and then wonder why the ceiling never moves. A salary is tied to one role, one employer, and the number of hours you personally show up. No matter how talented you are, there's a hard limit on how much time a single day contains. Wealth building usually requires something else running alongside the job, a skill that can be sold beyond one employer. A small side income, an investment with the potential to grow without requiring you to trade another hour for every dollar. This doesn't mean quitting your job to chase a risky idea. It means asking one honest question: is anything I'm building right now going to still be producing value 5 years from now, even if I stop showing up for a week? Most people never ask that question, not because they're lazy, but because the job fills every available hour and there's rarely energy left over to build the second thing. This is exactly why Trap 1 and Trap 2 feed each other. Waiting for the right time to start something, combined with a job that consumes every hour, can make it incredibly difficult for anything else to get built. Trap number 3, lifestyle inflation. This one is sneaky because it disguises itself as success. Every raise, every bonus, quietly gets absorbed into a slightly bigger apartment, a slightly nicer car, a slightly upgraded version of everything. Here's the honest math on this. If someone gets a $500 monthly raise and spends all of it on lifestyle upgrades, versus investing that same $500, the 20-year gap is enormous. At a hypothetical 8% average annual return, $500 a month invested consistently for 20 years could grow to roughly $295,000. Spent instead, it becomes nicer things that mostly lose value over time. This isn't an argument against ever upgrading your life. It's a question worth asking at every raise. Does this upgrade genuinely improve my life? Or is it just what income increases are supposed to buy? Income matters, but it isn't the whole equation. What you keep, invest, and own determines how much of that income can actually become wealth which is why keeping the gap between income and spending wide enough matters so much. Trap number 4, mistaking comfort for safety. This is the deepest trap of the 5 because it rarely feels like a mistake. It feels like being careful. Staying in a stagnant job because it's familiar. Avoiding investing because the market feels uncertain. Never learning a new skill because the current one is good enough. Each choice feels safe individually. Together, they can quietly limit your options and future earning potential. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The biggest financial risk usually isn't the thing that feels risky. It's the decades spent avoiding anything that felt uncomfortable, while inflation and time moved forward regardless. Cash sitting in a checking account earning close to nothing quietly loses purchasing power every year to inflation. It feels perfectly safe. But if inflation consistently outpaces what you're earning on it, your purchasing power is quietly shrinking regardless. This doesn't mean recklessness is the answer either. It means recognizing that comfort and safety aren't always the same thing, and that real security usually requires a little bit of productive discomfort along the way. Most people who build wealth aren't fearless. They're just willing to feel a little uncomfortable now in exchange for a lot more freedom later. That trade rarely feels good in the moment. It almost always looks good in hindsight. Trap number 5, the gap between knowing and doing. This might be the most common trap of all, and ironically, you might be closer to it than you think, right now watching this video. Consuming financial advice feels productive. It feels like progress. But watching a video about investing and actually opening an account are two completely different actions, and only one of them changes anything. This gap exists because learning feels safe and action feels exposed. Learning has no risk of failure. Doing does. So the brain quietly prefers to keep learning long after enough is already known to begin. At some point, more information stops adding value. The real difference between people who build wealth and people who stay stuck isn't how much they know. It's how quickly they turn a small piece of knowledge into a small action. So here are the 5 traps again, quickly, before we get to what to actually do about them. Waiting for the right time, trading only time for money, lifestyle inflation, mistaking comfort for safety, and the gap between knowing and doing. None of these traps require bad luck to fall into. They're default settings, the path most people end up on simply by not deciding otherwise. Which also means escaping them doesn't require luck either. It requires one decision at a time. Start with trap 1. Pick one small thing you've been waiting for the right time to begin, and start an imperfect version of it this week. Even a small amount counts more than a perfect plan that never launches. For trap 2, ask that 5-year question honestly. Is there a skill, a small project, or a side income you could begin building now, even in small pieces, alongside your current job? For trap 3, next time a raise comes through, if your finances allow it, try directing at least half of it towards saving, investing, or paying down expensive debt before adjusting your lifestyle at all. You likely won't miss money you never got used to spending. For trap 4, pick one thing that feels slightly uncomfortable but financially reasonable, moving money beyond your emergency needs toward a long-term investment, applying for a role that scares you a little, and take that one uncomfortable step this month. And for trap 5, turn off the next finance video before it ends, if you already know enough to take one small action. Go take that action first. Come back and learn more afterward. None of these 5 steps are dramatic. That's actually the point. Wealth rarely comes from one bold, dramatic decision. It comes from a series of small, undramatic ones, repeated consistently long after the excitement of starting has faded. 10 years from now, the version of you who avoided all 5 traps and the version who fell into all 5 will likely be in very different financial positions, not because of one big decision, but because of thousands of small ones. Most people don't stay broke because they're incapable of getting rich. They stay broke because 5 quiet, reasonable-sounding decisions kept getting repeated, year after year, without ever being questioned. You don't need to fix all 5 today. You don't even need to fix all 5 this year. You just need to notice which one you've been quietly living inside and start there. The people who eventually build real wealth were rarely smarter or luckier than everyone else. They simply stopped repeating one of these 5 decisions a little earlier than most people do. You just spent the last several minutes learning exactly what's been standing in the way. But knowing these traps isn't enough on its own. Turn one idea into one action before this day is over. If you want more honest breakdowns of the money psychology nobody teaches you, subscribe to Levels Nobody Sees, and pick just one trap to start working on this week. Your financial future won't be shaped by what you know today. It'll be shaped by what you repeatedly do after this video ends.